Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. He's one of your hosts, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. We are a podcast for the fans, by the fans. We're here to talk tonight about the new Bobcat Collective Incorporated, the NIL deal that Montana State's not affiliated with. Brandon Vancleeve, you might have heard of his name before associated with the quarterback club, or now spearheading this new Bobcat Collective Incorporated. We're going to talk to him. We just talked to him. We will play that audio for you here shortly. But wow, big things coming down for Montana State. And if you're like me and didn't know what a collective was for NIL about a week ago, Brandon does a fantastic job of just breaking down all the parts to it. He answers all our tough questions. And by the end, you're thinking, hey, there's a legit chance that you could get part of this and help promote this to help the Bobcat players in many different ways, honestly. So it was really fun talking with Brandon. And he did a really good job at just explaining the NIL collective terminology and everything that goes with it for us.
He did a great job of that. And I think whatever notions you have about NIL, and maybe it's still true about other places, but here they're doing it in a really unique way and a good way for the community and for the players and for player development. And I just like the way that they're going about it. So unless you got anything else to say, let's go ahead and play that audio here with Brandon Vancleeve. All right, Bobcat fans. Well, now we welcome in Brandon Vancleeve, who is the executive board member of the Bobcat Quarterback Club. He is the president and co-founder of the new Bobcat Collective NIL with his friend Tom White, and a former player for the Montana State Bobcats. Brandon, thanks for hopping on the show.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
First question we usually ask anybody who's associated with MSU, played for MSU, covering MSU, whatever. Like, what was your journey like? How did you get to Bozeman? And in your case, like maybe how did you get recruited to play for the Bobcats?
Yeah, so I've been a Bobcat my whole life. My dad played for the Bobcats in the late 70s. He was on the national championship team and is in the Hall of Fame. So I kind of bounced around as a kid. I was born in Billings. And then kind of grew up in the Wyoming area, small town in Thermopolis, Wyoming. And my dad was the head football coach there. So ironically enough, the mascot in Thermopolis, Wyoming is the Bobcats. I don't know if that's why my dad took the job.
Thermopolis Bobcats.
Thermopolis Bobcats. So, we kind of followed, I didn't go to too many games growing up just because we lived far away. My dad coached in the fall. Moved up to Billings, went to high school in Billings at Billings West. And that's when I really started to attach more strongly to the program. Was recruited by Butch Damberger, and he was on Cliff Heisel's staff. And so I came in and 99 was my freshman year. So I played, actually did play as a true freshman. I played about 7 games. I played a kind of a mix of H-back and tailback, and was injured against Eastern Washington, like second or third to last game of the year. Did not finish the rest of the season. Ended up redshirting and had neck surgery in 2000. Came back and played tight end in 2001 for about half the season, and then had to medically retire for just some of the problems I was having with my neck. And then stuck around the program to finish my scholarship out. So I did some film work that kind of first year, 2002, when we broke the streak. And then I actually coached the tight ends for my senior year. So I was actually coaching my buddies, which was great. I actually had an All-American, Blake Wolf. I coached him at tight end in 2003. So that was kind of my career at MSU. Obviously, I've stayed very closely tied to Montana State, and just trying to find ways that I can help give back and keep helping grow the trajectory that this program is on. It's been a fun ride, and I think we still can keep moving up.
Oh, totally agree with that, and I'm excited to see what you're doing since you graduated. I do have one question from your playing days, though. This is right around the time I started becoming a fan. I started in 2001. Full, you started in 2002 or 2001 as well?
Yeah, 2001.
You just graduated before me. I just took a couple extra years. Who was the quarterbacks back in the 99-2000 season?
Yeah, so 99, it was a mix between Casey Hart and Dusty Broderick. That was the 99 year. 2000, man, jogging my memory here. We had Farhad Azimi come in.
Oh, yes.
And he played a little this season, and then I think we bounced around a couple different guys, and then then we had Tyler Thomas come in the following year, and a mix between him and Lule. And then Lule, if you guys remember the name Travis Lule, he was pretty good for the remainder of the time I was there.
Friend of the podcast, we've had him on before. He's
yeah,
definitely
he's a great guy
for sure.
King Lule. All right, Brandon. Many people know you from the role you play in the quarterback club. Let's give you a little time to talk about the quarterback club. Some people might not know about it, so educate us a little bit on the QB club.
Yeah, so quarterback club, I believe, has been around since 2001, kind of when I was at Montana State. And so when I was done playing and kind of got established professionally, I joined the club first off. And then, my business kind of tied into it, where we do a lot of technology work and kind of remote office work. And I actually met with Rob Ash at the time. My dad was on the board, but I randomly met with Rob Ash, and he was explaining how they were trying to do this remote telecast out to these remote chapters, and kind of cutting up the game film and showing them the X's and O's, which is kind of the key component of what we do at the quarterback club. And he was telling me some of the technical challenges that they were having. And I said, you know what, let me come in and see if I can help fix that. When we fixed and kind of resolved kind of the issues they were having from a kind of this remote telecast thing that they were doing on Monday nights, I think the membership doubled in like 24 months. I think we went from like 200 some members to like 400 members, gained 3 or 4 chapters across the state of Montana, added Boise. So it kind of took off from there. So I've been involved since then. I really kind of helped drive the Monday conference calls, the video conference calls with the remote chapters, and it's been great. I've met a lot of great people all across the state. I have good friends in Plentywood and Twin Bridges and Boise and all over the place, just from the work that we've done of bringing these diehard supporters a lot closer to the program through Coach Vegan, but through the technology that we help provide to get the thing going. So it's been fun to watch. It's a great way to really know what's going on. I mean, I'm really a fan at the end of the day. I'm not really an X's and O's guy sitting in the stands anymore. I just kind of follow the ball. But it's fun on Monday nights because you really dive in and get to see and hear what really went on, either what was why did we have the success here, or why did we fail here. You really don't get that until you get to talk with Vegan and have him break it down. So it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that program.
What are kind of maybe the membership options and maybe the cost for someone who's might be looking to join the quarterback club?
Yeah. So, and then we've added, I've been a big proponent of finding different ways to get people to different levels. So we just added a junior membership just this last year, where I believe that is around $50 a month or $600 a year. You can become a member for, I think it's under 39 years and younger. So that's $600 annually. And then the basic membership is $1,000 a year, or roughly $80 a month. And then we have some different tiers from there. I think we have a $2,500 and a $5,000 membership that has different benefits associated to it. And I think currently we're right around 600 members and almost $1 million annual budget that we're able to put to different things that, basically allow Coach Vegan and his staff really to separate us from not only the conference but the country. So, obviously athletics and the university funds the typical things a football program would have. We're able to come in and just give them that much more with, helping out with nutrition and food and technology for the players, analyzing film and some travel costs, just some things to make, being a Montana State football player that much more enjoyable, which I think relates to winning more games, which is what we're all trying to do here.
Right on. Ryan and I have not joined the quarterback club. We have talked about it for a long time, and it's something we're really interested in, but a conversation for another time, maybe between Ryan and
I. I did not mean to hit that button. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll add one more thing to that. And another reason it's a great time to be a quarterback club member is, the technology was really based around these chapter sites where you had to be in Plentywood or Great Falls. We've now able to have access to anyone across the world. Essentially, can watch these Monday night meetings. You don't have to be in one of these chapter locations to get access to that. So that's kind of been a big thing that we've added for, basically the out of chapter people, that whether you're in California or Mexico, it doesn't really matter. You can dial in and be a part of these Monday meetings.
That's pretty awesome.
Right.
Makes it more enticing for someone like people like us who live, thousands of miles away from Bozeman. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, the news came out this summer. We heard about this thing called the Bobcat Collective Incorporated, and it was put out on Bobcat Nation, and some news leaked out. And then all of a sudden there was an article with Sam Herder from Hero Sports. You kind of, you had an interview with him, and it was put out there. And I read it today, or the past couple of days, in fact. And it's really interesting. And, the name, image, and likeness that came on a year ago in July is something that is, happening across college sports, and it's affecting all of us. And so you are part of spearheading an effort for this Bobcat Collective to help, I guess, bring name, image, and likeness to the football players, right, at Montana State. So we were just hoping you could tell us a little bit about that.
You bet. So and I'm not far off from all the other people out there trying to figure this whole thing out. It's been crazy to just get involved with this. If you told me a year ago I'd be running a NIL Collective with all the other things that I find myself getting busy with, I'd tell you you're crazy. But really kind of how this thing started was really coming off that experience down in Frisco, Texas, when not only was an incredible ride to get there, but just the camaraderie and the energy and enthusiasm we saw from the former player community that I'm very closely tied to, but just overall Bobcat Nation in general. It was amazing. And so I kind of left there, even though the game maybe left a little bad taste in my mouth, the outcome, but it really just got me charged up to figure out, okay, we're here, we've arrived, and we know we belong at this level. How do we take the next step? And obviously, getting past North Dakota State being the biggest challenge in front of us, we got to get creative. And I looked at this NIL Collective. I wanted to understand it better. I did a lot of research. I just kind of went on and I searched out some sports lawyers, and I was listening to some podcasts and just trying to understand some of the leaders in the field that were talking about it and doing collectives, and just seemed to be the thought leaders in the industry. And I just reached out to them. I just didn't play dumb. I was dumb, and just said, hey, I'm interested in this. We're looking to do something similar at my university. And that's kind of how the whole thing started to progress. And from there, we just started meeting with some of these collective management companies that are basically providing management services out to people like me, so it's attainable to go out and put a collective together. We couldn't do it without some outside partnerships. So anyway, we kind of went down that route. I started talking it through with some closely held people, Tom White included, and him and I kind of took the reins on this thing. And just started doing the due diligence, meeting different management companies, signing contracts, putting out, getting a corporation, applying for our 501c3, all kinds of stuff that goes into this operation. And in that meantime, we met with the university to let them know what we're up to. Obviously we're completely separate of the university and the staff and the team, but we wanted them to know what we were up to. One reason I wanted to get involved with this was I just felt that we would do it the right way. Not that we're going to be perfect, but I think because of our alignment with the university in general, I think everyone can rest assured that we have the best interest of the program and the players in mind, and I think we'll show that. That's the case as we continue to progress down this path. So we met with the university, we met the coaching staff, we met with compliance. I actually met with a few of the other sports, and that's something we can talk about. That I'm hoping to add other sports to our collective. And so, that'll be down the road. And then I actually met with the team. So we had our group met with Coach Vegan said there might be a few players there, and I opened up the quarterback club room, and there was it was like every seat was full. So I don't know who was missing, if there was, but it was a full house. They were very responsive, very good questions. We had guys staying after 15, 20 minutes wondering what they can do to help promote it and drive the thing home. So that was super exciting to see how engaged that they were. And from that point on, we had some housekeeping stuff to do and get a contract signed with Blueprint Sports, is who our management partner is. And from there, these last 2 weeks, we've been kind of doing some fundraising, what we're calling seed money. So we're not really advertising out to the general public yet, but we had some closely held people that we wanted to reach out to see if they're interested. And we put a 2-week goal out there to hit. And I think we doubled it as the numbers came in yesterday. And so we're getting ready to kind of put a package together for our players and have them sign their first NIL contract with Bobcat Collective. And, I think part of the piece that I maybe missed in what our mission is and how we want to look at this differently is we want to do something for everyone. I think where people get maybe a bad taste in their mouth or a myth of what NIL is, and, seeing guys getting $100,000 contracts or new cars or all these outrageous things. What we're trying to do is just kind of raise the tide for the entire program, from superstar to walk-on. And I think that's how we're going to be a little different. And not only do we think that helps from a locker room perspective and a camaraderie perspective, but, I live here in Bozeman, and I know the cost of living is maybe the one, if there's any negative to being a college football athlete in Bozeman, it's just the cost of living. And so I think we can combat that with this collective, and that's going to be our number one focus. We're certainly going to do other things. We can do direct contracts with players, and we can get creative and do a bunch of different things, but our core mission is just to eliminate this problem of cost of living and really the cost of rent that these guys are facing. And so that's our first challenge that we're going to try to tackle, hopefully here in the next week or two.
Well, that all sounds really good. Ryan, do we just kind of want to ask a couple questions that you and I have come up with over the course of researching this? I think you just did a really good job of kind of explaining some of the, the overarching kind of stuff about it. But do you want to get into specifics here, Ryan?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. I got one real quick question here. And you mentioned it, I believe, when you were describing it. What exactly does it mean to be a nonprofit collective?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think and it's interesting as I read kind of these message boards out here, not only ours, but others that are talking about this, which I actually really enjoy reading because the questions and the misconceptions people have seem to be global. So yeah, we are applying for our 501c3 status. We are 100%, the funds that we collect are going directly to the players. So there's no funds that we take We're not taking any cut of this. We have no intention, and really can't do that the way we are established. So yeah, we are a nonprofit, and we are applying to get our 501c3 status, basically, so this can be a charitable contribution directly to our program. Now, our partner, Blueprint Sports, is established as a 501c3, so we can do charitable contributions immediately. But we're trying to get that inside of our own Bobcat Collective Inc. as well, which will give us some more flexibility down the road.
I guess to piggyback off of that, are players under any of these contracts, is there anything that they're required to do to be part of a nonprofit, like community work or anything type like that?
Yeah, great question. So yes, and that's one of the major rules with an NIL contract. If you are giving them a contract, they need to perform some type of work for that contract. And so the beauty of being established as a 501c3 and our partner being able to do charitable contributions, that is really the only thing they can do when we go that route. Now, let me explain that a little bit. There's really two buckets that people can go after here inside of our collective. One is charitable contribution, which means I'm going to give money to this collective, and in return, that player is going to provide charitable work to the community. That's how. So the contract that we are going to sign, especially this initial one, what their duties will be based upon charitable giving back to charity. So nonprofits around the community, they'll have, whether it's a speaking engagement or doing an interview about Big Brothers Big Sisters or any of these other charitable organizations around Bozeman or Montana. That will be what they do to receive their contract, period. So that's one bucket. The other bucket will be what people traditionally think of with an NIL contract, where I have a business and I want a particular player or players to promote my business. That is a different route. Obviously, that has tax deductible opportunities as well, more of as a business expense. But that would be a different route, where I'm a business and I want a particular contract for particular duties from the players. That is that second bucket. So really, as people come in and say, I'm interested, they're going to either say, my money wants to go to the charitable side, where that's going to route the contract towards the player doing charitable work around the community. The other one is, I want that player to promote with their NIL, name, image, likeness, promote my business.
Okay, and you are going to be offering both buckets then?
We are.
Okay.
Yep. So the initial seed money that we did was strictly for the charitable side. But as we launch our website here any hour or any day, people will have the opportunity to go either route. And either route is totally fine. There's no wrong answer to that. It's really just what you are trying to get out of the collective for yourself.
So who is providing the players education on how to what the contract means, like maybe when it comes time to do their taxes, how to navigate that? Is that Blueprint Sports?
It will be, yeah. So Blueprint Sports, they do this for I think about a dozen other programs across the country, which has been huge for us to be able to get this thing launched in the time that we did. But yes, they will work. Basically, what you can think of is they're acting as almost like a non-exclusive agent. So basically, they are the advocate for the student athlete to make sure, they'll help them with the taxes. They'll help them to make sure they know what they're doing with appearances. They'll make sure we're doing everything correctly from a compliance standpoint with the university. They are there to be an advocate and a resource for the student athlete. As well as the business, let's say, again, back to this idea of a business wanting to do an NIL contract with a player. Organizations can do that separately. They don't need to work with our collective. Mm-hmm. But what we're hoping is people that are maybe unsure how to navigate this, do not want to make a mistake from a compliance standpoint or do anything to jeopardize the player and the university. When we get into that contract, that's where Blueprint can jump in and make sure we're doing everything the right way.
And does Blueprint have to work hand in hand with Montana State with that? Does Montana State have like any language or rules in this?
They do. Yeah. So the university has some documents that we've adhered to, and we're making sure we're adhering to. The state also has some NIL guidelines and regulation that goes in line with this, which is standard across kind of what other states are doing. It's not all that unique. But yeah, they're making sure we're doing that. We met with compliance. Blueprint came in with us. We met with compliance at Montana State and had great conversations to make sure we're doing this again the right way. And I think that's the beauty of the of what we have going here, is those relationships and being able to communicate in an effective way with administration here has been tremendous. So that has made it a lot easier to get started. Just making sure we're all, they know what we're up to, and they know we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to, be in lockstep with them on making sure it's compliant and doing all the right stuff.
Yeah, you make it sound like it definitely, that traditional maybe bad taste in your mouth you might have about the whole NIL thing. Like, I really like the nonprofit angle of it, community work, community type stuff like that. That's pretty interesting to me. The next question I have is then, okay, so I'm a walk-on. Am I available, or am I able to get into the collective as just like a walk-on player?
You are. Yeah, you are. And I think one question people have is, just because, I'm saying we're going to give some to everyone, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be exactly the same for everyone. And there's different reasons for that. If you think of, the cost of living example is something that we want to combat. Cost of living is a different animal for someone living in the dorms versus living out in an apartment. And so we're going to take all those things into consideration to make sure we're helping everyone, but we want to make sure it's done equitable but fairly. And I think those are somewhat go together, but they are a little different in making sure what we're giving is fair. And we'll talk through that, and our team will be kind of at our discretion, especially on this charitable side. If it's not a business saying I want my money to go exactly here, we're going to have a pool of money, and we're going to decide how we divvy that up the most fair way to all the players. So yeah, short answer is yes. And I think that's one thing I love to get behind, because I think of, when I think walk on, I think of the kid from small town Montana that all of a sudden becomes an All-American. Those kids, we need those kids. That's amazing. Some of the walk-ons that we've had here, and if I can make it a little bit easier for them to be a walk-on, because being a walk-on is an incredibly difficult task. I want to help those guys out.
One last question for you on my part is, when I was thinking about this today, I thought about Leon Costello and his work he does raising funds for the Bobcat Athletic Fund. And then I was thinking about just like the QBC. How does this work in tandem with all those and not have them, for lack of a better word, cannibalize each other?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a challenge that we are continually looking at. We have to make sure we are not building money here and taking it from another organization. So exactly like you said, there's the Bobcat Club, there's Quarterback Club, there's all these other sports-specific giving programs. We do not want to take money from there for this. Now, that might happen. Someone might believe in this NIL cause more than a Quarterback Club cause or a Bobcat Club cause. I hope that's going to be the minority, though. What we're hoping to do is have this be an additional thing. For someone that's already a Quarterback Club member and Bobcat Club member, keep doing those things. If you believe in this, get involved wherever you can. Don't take money here to go there. That's people do whatever they want. And then we appreciate people being associated with Montana State. But we want to be very careful of how we do that. I think one strategy that we have is I want to go after people that are interested and are passionate about Montana State, but maybe haven't been engaged yet. And I think NIL could be a great entry level for them to get more involved, and specifically talking about our former player community. I think we haven't done a very good job of staying in touch with all of our former players. And we have such a phenomenal history here and tradition. And I just don't think we've I wouldn't say capitalized, but I don't think we've done a good job of bringing those people back in. And I can tell you a quick story. Coach Vegan kind of assigned me to build out a former player get together down in Frisco. I did a Facebook group because that's the best way I could get to everybody, which doesn't even get close to everybody. I had 40 people RSVP that they were going to show up for practice that day. And I turned the corner and there was about 300 former players there. And it was mind blowing. Yeah. Like people were tearing up, hugging each other. I saw guys that I played with that I didn't think I'd ever see again. And so there was a lot of momentum there. And I think that's an untapped resource of getting, and what better cause for them to, if they haven't been involved at Montana State since they left, why not start with helping your other brothers that are playing for the program right now? And so I think that's how we're leverage this, is let's bring some new people and new energy into the program that are already invested. And then they can start spreading into these other programs, the Bobcat Club, the Quarterback Club, facilities, wherever they want to go from there. I think it's a great entry level specifically for our former player community to get more engaged.
Ryan and I both went down to Frisco, and I can tell you, like, we were walking around and we went to some of the events and seeing all those ex-players there, like guys that we recognize as fans and kind of being a fanboy and like, hey man, that's Travis Lilly over there. Or, we saw just a whole bunch of like Bobcat legends, or even not necessarily legends, but guys that were stars or you just recognize. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad some momentum and some of this kind of stuff came out of that event down there in Frisco, the national championship game. Some of this Bobcat Collective, maybe the push to get some of the ex-players back involved in the program in some way. Speaking of like kind of getting involved, I guess what are the options? Okay, so I want to be donating to or like, is that the word? Become a member? I'm not sure what the word is you want to use here to the Bobcat Collective. How do I get involved in that?
Yeah, and so I'm hoping, we're diligently working to launch this website, and I believe it might even be out tomorrow, Thursday. That's going to be the easiest route. That's going to give you all the information. In the meantime, obviously, people can reach directly out to me. I've talked to a lot of people and answered a lot of questions over the past couple of weeks as this thing got out there. But yeah, I think the website's going to be the easiest place to do it. I think we're going to have some events around, built around some home games, and certainly some social media outlets that'll drive people to our website. But the website really will be the place. It should be the one-stop shop. You can engage with the content that we're putting out there. You can donate right from there. And then, if you're trying to do something strategic, like, again, if you're a business that wants to do something, unique and strategic with particular players, that's certainly something we can talk and strategize with you and the players and make something happen.
Are there membership levels? Is it a subscription type model or?
Yeah, we're going to give both options. So people can do one-time donations, essentially. They also can set up from a monthly, quarterly, annual perspective as well, which I'm really going to encourage a lot of our people to kind of go that subscription route, because one nice thing is it'll help us be able to forecast how much we can budget for these contracts, not only now, but in the winter months, in the spring, and that's maybe a nice little bit of information that you guys should know is, these contracts are typically short-term contracts. There's multiple reasons you do it that way, but basically our first contract we're looking at will be probably roughly September to December, somewhere in there, and they'll have 2 to 5 different things that they're going to have to do to fulfill their duty for that contract. But yeah, that's what we're looking to do. And we'll have a lot more information on how to get involved. People can get involved today, like tomorrow if they want. Like, we have seed money people providing to our charitable side, which is helping us fund this first wave of contracts we're going to do. People that are interested in being a part of that, love to have them. They can reach out directly to me, and I can give you that information however is best for you guys.
Well, that all sounds really good. But let's say I want to get involved in the Quarterback Club. How would someone do that?
Yeah, so I think website, again, best place to do that. So bobcatquarterbackclub.com. Let me pull that up. Make sure I get your URL right. So yeah, bobcatquarterbackclub.com. And there's a join us page right there. A couple clicks and you're rolling. And then literally we have our first Monday. We meet every Monday. We have a golf tournament. We have there's swag. There's all kinds of benefits to it. and you haven't really missed anything as far as the season goes. So I highly encourage people to get involved. To me, the quarterback club is the best way to really dive into the ins and outs of the football program, specifically from the coach's perspective. You get insight in that group that you just don't get anywhere else. Everything else is just kind of guessing and speculating a little bit. And I think it's just a great way to really know what's going on.
Is there anything else you want Bobcat fans to know before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I just appreciate the opportunity to come on and share what we're up to, and hopefully, whether it's the Bobcat Collective or Quarterback Club or Bobcat Club, whatever, people that are looking to get engaged, I think just get involved, and it's just a great time to be a Bobcat, and I think we're heading into a great place with the program. We're already in a great place, but I think we're ready to do some pretty magical things.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Well, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And what we do when we have a fellow Bobcat on the podcast, we always ask that they end the show with a Go Cats. So can I get a Go Cats?
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.